It sounds like I'm on now. My voice is
I just turned on the mic.
echoing. Okay, fantastic. All right, we will call to order the Bartersville Redevelopment Commission meeting for August 12th, 2021. Executive session is closed, and we will take roll call, please.
James Pfeiffer.
Robin Bowman.
Eric Prime.
CJ Frankfurt.
Mark Eagle. All present. We have a quorum, so we will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody will please join me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first order of business is approval of minutes from the July 8, 2021 meeting. Everybody had the opportunity to review those. Any questions, concerns, corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Minutes are approved. In the interest of time, we are going to move item 5, administrative, to the end of the agenda. Well, prior to the confirmation of the next meeting, I guess. And move to new business, contract with Baker Tilly. I'm just in charge of that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'll speak to that one. At our previous meeting, Spa with Baker Tilly was here and we discussed services to be provided, their regular services of managing the TIF district, as well as some optional services for TIF expansion. And so you have that contract in your packet today, should you decide to approve that.
Did our council have the opportunity to review that contract?
Nope, we didn't send it to David. I think it's the same contract that they sent us previously with a few new services. So if you'd like to approve it pending council review, that is an option that you have.
I think we probably have to do that way. All right, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the Baker Tilly contract, subject to town's legal review on the municipal advisory services.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 All right. Let's briefly also table the discussion regarding priority areas. Move that down, and also the discussion regarding the EDA and allocation areas. And jump to, there was a discussion and a need for a motion to acquire land and to authorize 2 appraisals. Do we have a motion in that regard?
Motion to acquire land and acquire 2 appraisals.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Aye.
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 And then there was a need for an acceptance of the purchase agreement for the plaza area, and also to authorize a survey or the hiring of a surveyor to do a survey. We have a motion.
Motion to accept the parcel of land from town of Bargersville.
The purchase agreement?
The purchase agreement.
All right, do we have a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Then the second piece of that was to authorize a surveyor to be retained. So we need that motion.
I make a motion to retain a surveyor for that.
I'll second.
Motion second. Any discussion?
For Plaza.
For the plaza,
Plaza,
yeah,
yes.
sorry. All right, roll call vote.
Aye.
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 All right, fantastic. Now we'll jump back up and let's just go ahead and hit the budget review and approval of claims. The only claims were from Mr. Jan's firm, I believe. Anybody have any budget questions? We typically are not going through the budget in these meetings, correct? It's just there for information.
But if I may, one statement on the budget.
Sure.
We are in the process, from the town perspective, of starting the 2022 budget. So we have a consultant, Adam Stone, who I would like to have reach out to the RDC. I don't know if you would like to appoint someone to specifically work with him on your operating budget for next year, or who he should contact specifically.
Who's the numbers guru on the, not me so much either.
And I'm happy to sit in on those conversations. The last like 2 or 3 years I've assisted with this budget, so I'm more than happy to be involved in those discussions. But
So I guess the big question is, obviously, the budget's probably going to change a little dynamically compared to what had in the past, but if we don't have the experience to necessarily predict what that looks like, how do we manage through kind of the reality of what it's likely to be versus kind of what it's been for 15 years?
Adam will give some of that
Adam will
input.
be
He's
very
got the knowledge,
helpful.
okay.
Yes.
He's the former controller for Greenwood.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And now he's an outside consultant. So
Yeah,
he-
so
He's
he
been
has
down
the
that-
experience
down
to
that path.
help us with those discussions.
Yeah.
I just would prefer that someone from the board be involved in those discussions, and we don't do that in a vacuum and then bring it to you and have it be a surprise.
I'll volunteer if nobody else.
Okay.
does. I'm just, full disclosure, I went to law school, so I didn't have to deal with numbers. So,
I understand. We'll be kind.
all right. All right, so we have accounts payable voucher that we need to approve for legal services. There's actually several of them. There it looks like, unless, did we get double?
There are two.
We have a motion to approve the payment for our legal counsel.
I make a motion to approve the legal counsel.
Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All right. Budget is reviewed, claims are approved. Brings us to discussion regarding council's priority areas of growth and current town projects. Sorry for bouncing around on you a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm trying to keep up here as we look through this agenda. So, reminder, as we start thinking about projects and how we are focusing of the priority areas as we think of development in terms of the downtown area, the I-69 corridor, 135 corridor. My mind just went blank and I forgot the other two.
35 and that industrial.
The industrial. Thank you. So as we look at those areas, and that kind of works with our next topic in terms of the TIF districts and mapping those EDA and allocation areas and potentially making some adjustments. And you also have the zoning map today so that you can see where those commercial areas have already been designated, the industrial areas that have been designated, as well as where the areas for potential development are. So I know we had a discussion with Heidi last time in terms of some potential changes that we thought we would like to make to these TIF areas, and in terms of capturing development that we know will be occurring and potentially resetting the base on one of our allocation areas, I-69 specifically.
We talked about expanding down the 135 corridor, right? We're getting ready to have some improvements there.
So yes, if we specifically look at the Whiteland Road 135 TIF area, we wanted to confirm that the daycare, which is in the Duke development behind CBS, was included in there because we know that's going to be happening. We wanted to make sure that the Sundown Gardens parcel was included in the area. We have been receiving plans. And then we had a discussion about removing the school parcels from there as they are not tax generating parcels. So then as we look at that one, any other thoughts that we have on what would make sense, or comments, thoughts on that one?
Did somebody at some point say that the school parcels were kept in because of some contiguity with the railroad being able to move and expand the TIF down there?
When it was originally configured, the railroad was the connector between all of the areas. And so I believe the schools were included because we came north along the railroad and then went east using those parcels.
What's the problem with keeping the schools in the TIF? I mean, there's no negative in that, is there?
No negative.
But it gives us a little flexibility because it keeps the railroad, if we want to do trails or something.
If at some point that would be a possibility.
This is part of what Heidi's going to be doing under the new contract then.
So yeah, under Heidi's contract, she will, we will give her updated maps, and then she will do the economic analysis to basically look at the values, the current values, and kind of let us know if we're making any grave mistakes by the additions or subtractions that we're doing. She did look at the current parcels that are included and had some recommendations of removing some parcels based on the decrease in value that they have had. And so that's a list we can put together and provide for you. But some parcels have had some significant drops in assessed value. So that means that basically it's dropped and the entire area has a negative value.
And that's a report we'll get at the next meeting maybe.
We can put that together for the next meeting.
Do we want to give as a board Heidi some guidance on where we would like her to look at expansion so she can do those calculations.
Ultimately, we need to provide her with some guidance on if we're going to expand, what that needs to be.
Right.
And if we want to reduce, what are we taking out?
We'll just take that district by district then.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Let's do the State Road 135 first.
Yeah. We're really coming south.
Yeah.
From, Gan Miller. Which one is that parcel, Sundown?
Sorry, I'm pulling the maps up on my screen here. I can just make a note that you want to make sure you include that one.
I think we'd like to have her probably look at all those parcels going on the east side of 135, southbound from wherever the office park is at the corner, probably all the way down to 144, right? I mean, is there at least to have her look at those?
Okay.
And then wherever we drop off on the east side, I think, or on the west side, it looks like starting with that, there's a Paul Moore property.
Uh-huh.
Venice property is in, and that's the most south parcel on the west side of 135. So we probably ought to have her at least look at the other ones. So we cover all the way down.
Basically look at the entire corridor.
Yeah, look east and west of all the frontage properties on 135.
Do we know, so she will basically look at that from an economic perspective to make sure that we're not including parcels that we think might go down in value and therefore dragging down the value of the TIF area, right?
Yeah, so there are some parcels and in some of the other areas that for whatever reason that assessed value has been dropping.
Right.
And so she may look at it and say, because the process to update the TIF is not, a super long process and super complicated, that you may want to add certain parcels that you are more confident in this cycle, and then come back in a year or two and add more parcels when you are more confident in that development process. But I'm not going to pretend to be as experienced as her.
No, that makes logical sense. So,
Any other comments on the 135 corridor? All right, let's move to the industrial area, the pink. Seems like this one, we wanted to maybe look at expansion to the west on the southern edge. I know that was an area of interest for the town. Am I remembering that correctly?
it's a little
Yeah,
Yeah.
up to the town.
and then maybe we're pretty much everything to the south then, right? The green line is the town limit.
That is correct.
Okay, so yeah, I guess it's just that one parcel. Just that sliver there. Although against the town limit there.
The only question that I'll have is if we are going to do a separate one for downtown. And, or if the Dressler building should be picked up in this district here.
Good call. Yeah, we did talk about that. We wanted to add that to this. It's more industrial in nature anyway, so I think that
And
makes sense to add it to this.
And it is kind of in the middle of this group here.
Yeah.
And you just probably expand it from the east, bumping up against that ground, which used to be the flea market. Is that how you do it, or you just take all those in over to the west boundary of Tressler's? So
Yep, we, couple options, we
Take
could
it all in.
essentially take that western portion off of 135 and incorporate all of that over to Dressler. It's all sort of one parcel.
Why is the northwest corner not included? Part of the corner of 144 and State Road 135.
The gas station.
Looks like that's carved out.
It's the gas station.
It's already,
Well, it's actually the gas station in the strip mall, but that probably because it's already developed, right? It's not-
Because it's already developed and it was not,
Well, you
not-
use the AV.
I mean, it's going, well, maybe the timing.
Go ahead, Andrew.
That'll get if we're gonna do what we're gonna do, it's gonna get redone. So
I'd say the strip center for sure, maybe not the gas station.
gas station will probably go away.
If I may,
please, sir.
you can always amend it later before and add those properties. Or you could do it as a blanket. But the risk, right, is that if you do it now and then for some reason value goes down of the gas station and the strip center, then you have potential of negative assessed value, but either way, you'll be fine if you added it now or if.
Probably Chicago's pieces not in there, but it's status quo, that whole corridor up there.
Yeah, when we did this last expansion, the thought process was adding properties that had potential for development and not necessarily adding existing.
Yeah, he improved it pretty nice a few years ago, but anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to the east, then you're gonna pick up Tressler, is that what we just said?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on the pink area?
What are the east boundaries on the east side of 135 there?
I'm talking
And
south of,
144?
Dan Miller.
Yeah, we're gonna look at both sides of 135 all the way down, from Whiteland down to
Yeah.
144.
Because I can't, there's some
There's some stuff coming.
stuff coming
There's
through
stuff
there.
coming.
Yeah.
And then do we need to do something out of 37? Or is that already?
Well, that's next on the discussion topic. So the State Road 37 is the next area for,
And that's one of them that's in the negative.
yeah, so she's gonna look at maybe contracting that a little bit. Because we wanna expand.
I thought we
We
were
talked about
just
taking,
gonna re-TIF it, right? Like reset the base.
Yes.
Yeah, so reset the base and then I believe we would like to expand north along 37 to pick up this piece of ground that is developable along 37.
Yeah.
Where is that?
this piece here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, on the west, okay.
Yeah, right on the west side. Because it'll be
That's right in front of the golf course and all that, right there.
just, it's south of the golf course, but it's got, the frontage road will come down through there. So you'll have highway on one side and frontage on the other.
Add that? No, it's municipal, right?
It's municipal, it doesn't produce revenue. I don't know what's planned for the west side of that new frontage road that's going in there.
It'd be right next to the plant, so.
But I think
You mean one day, yeah.
the land on the east side of that
So
frontage.
the black is the,
Black is
Yeah,
Is the
that's,
current boundary.
that makes some sense.
The current
too. Just
tip boundary.
access is gonna be a little goofy, although I think that there's a frontage road down that side as well.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how far down it goes.
the other side here.
Well, I think those are all homes, existing homes that aren't going away, I don't think.
Are they?
Yeah,
It
these
would-
are,
it would-
There's a-
Not on
there's a-
Travis. Those homes on Travis will stay because they're dead ending Travis.
Yeah.
So I don't think those folks will be selling.
But even the ones up kind of on 37, I don't think
Yeah.
will go away
Okay.
based on just how the road's going.
no, I
remember,
think
you can always add later.
Yeah.
you can add later.
But that's that whole communication and making sure that the planning department in the town is working with the RDC so that if something does come, it gets flagged.
Yeah.
So there's some kind of system we can have to make sure that anything that's adjacent to TIF that comes forward with any kind of rezone or planning request or building permit, that it gets flagged. That way the RDC can amend and add and not lose out on revenue.
Right. So does that take care of the 37
Mhm.
corridor? All right, then the downtown focus area. Discussion here that we're potentially adding a TIF area to the downtown? Okay. So basically, that would be what? The, both sides of Baldwin, or both sides of the railroad, I guess.
So old plank is after the.
Yeah.
There's the industrial.
And the old south.
Old south.
Is there, and I think what I heard earlier, again, because we can always add, the focus probably now is more on Baldwin, because that's where the development's gonna be. I mean, it doesn't look like anything on this side is gonna get developed in the short term, but look at that longer term, I mean, I don't know.
To my knowledge, I haven't heard of current plans
For this side.
for Main Street.
And again, the increase, help me understand the increase in valuation. In other words,
Take a snapshot today of what the AV is, and then
I guess
then
my
if it
point
gets
is,
tipped,
yeah, just because there's not an improvement going on a parcel, doesn't mean it's not gonna go up based on what's gonna happen around it. So we gotta think that, because it's, I mean, I'm in real estate, it's gonna change, it's already changing. I've already got some conversations going on with some owners just right here in town, so my point being is once the word starts to get out, all you're gonna need is a couple of sales comps, and values are gonna go up significantly, in my humble opinion. So I don't know if that counts when you're looking at TIF, not just physical improvements to the property, but the assessed valuation is what we're talking.
That's
So
correct.
so long as we're confident that we think that the valuations of even these existing properties will go up, then it probably makes sense to do TIF.
As long as you don't think they'll go down.
Okay, perfect, okay.
They're not.
That's
going
really,
down,
and
but-
even if they went down marginally,
Yeah,
so I have a different perspective. I would use, what was my comment? I would not use a scalpel, I would amputate, right?
so we should take,
You can almost take a marker. and-
I mean,
take a pump house all the way down.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, I would tell you that the dynamic is changing. So unless you have a building that is literally falling down and it's not ever gonna get sold,
Which isn't
things
gonna
continue
happen.
to
It
appreciate.
isn't gonna happen here.
Well, but even if the gas station appreciates in value, then you don't have any negative issue with it, right?
Right.
And
Whatever the building.
as soon as the word goes out, what, if and when we get to the point that we're doing things, then values are going up.
Yeah.
Everywhere,
They already are,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's the reality, Mark, from your perspective.
absolutely.
These grain elevators are not going anywhere, right, to the south?
That is what
But they're gonna become worth more.
Mr. Armour has stated that those will never go away, but never is
That's a long time.
I'm just trying to think whether we should include those now or just have that on the watch area.
Again,
Still gonna go up in value.
Yeah, all right.
that doesn't mean that the property won't increase in value.
Right.
The land won't, but it'll be marginal.
So was there remind me of the process to create a TIF district? Obviously, we can make a motion to do so, but then does that have to go through a couple of meetings or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I think there's interest in creating a downtown TIF to cover at least the commercial areas that are there and potential. So do we need Heidi's input on exactly which parcels to include and give her the guidance that she should look on the east side and the west side of the railroad?
Yeah, I'll kind of send her some notes from this and just,
That's right, if I had a darker market, would help.
So the cutoff's then would be Old South and Old.
It's just a broad brush.
West.
Where he has with the.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and I'll be happy to.
you agree?
Yeah, that's what it was.
It covers that.
Yeah.
All right.
Did we get down to 2 cent? Are we going down to 2 cent on 135? We need to.
We didn't talk about going further south than
We
144.
need to.
Yeah, we
You need
just
to.
approved,
Yeah.
It just got approved
it just got approved, the rezone
Mhm.
with apartments.
with apartments. Yes.
So 100% suggestion.
That piece is in the industrial park TIF.
It already
It
is.
is already? Okay, perfect.
That'll work.
Just double checking.
Looks like it, yeah.
Oh, that is a big area.
Yeah, it's already in.
Perfect.
All right, any other comments for downtown? Mr. Diedel's drawing will be passed on to Heidi.
It was already returned, said it's insufficient, it's not,
I just,
it's not pretty enough.
Here we go. All right, so that was priority areas, current town projects. Did we hit both of those?
I think so.
Good. And then mapping EDA and allocation areas, kind of what we just talked about, right? So any other discussion there? All right. Any other business? All right, then confirmation of the next meeting, Thursday, September 9, 7:30, same place. Any other last minute items before I adjourn? Great, meeting is adjourned.